Oh.
Let's go. Let me show you where I got the inspiration from. Give me the cast.
You mean you gonna go into the Bible?
I'm gonna go into the Bible.
You mean these niggas ain't read the Bible?
They've never read the Bible.
Damn. They watch Prince videos, but they ain't read the Bible.
There you go.
That's befitting of the Negro.
Okay, my turn. Simon is so great. Nobody else is allowed to wear that color. It was only him, so it was always a dignified royal color. So they were mocking Christ in a garment.
Because he what?
Because he loves the brethren.
And that's what these brothers don't have. They don't have the love for the brethren. For you to go on YouTube and speak evil of any man, you understand? That's hatred. And without proof, without talking to that man without proof, that's hatred.
Shalom Israel, Most High in Christ bless. My name is Soldier Elijah, and we are Israel United in Christ. And the purpose of today's event is to teach you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that you are the children of the Most High God. That you're more than just black or African American or Native American or mixed, but you are chosen children of the Most High God. Let me start with Joel chapter 3, verses 1 and 2. So, we live our lives according to this Bible. Things that we speak, the way we live our life, the way we walk, the way we act, we live according to the Bible. So we're going to come from the Bible with everything that we say. And the Bible's going to back us up. Even though you got Amos 3, 1 and 2. Amos 3, 1 and 2.
The book of Amos, chapter 3, verse 1. Hear this word that the Lord has spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying.
So, we know that the Most High brought the Israelites out of Egypt. Continue.
You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities.
So God said that the Israelites are the only manner of people, the only nation of people out of all the nations of people on the earth that He's known. So what does it mean to be an Israelite? There's great honor in that thing, great pride, understand? And with that, we have to keep God's laws, statutes, and commandments. For we are His chosen people. Bro, Mikael, give me Isaiah 41 again. Because our people are still under the impression that God loves everybody. John 3:16, right? For God so loved the world, He chose everybody. Simply not true. So let me get that when you got that.
Isaiah chapter 41, verse 2, or verse 41, verse 8. But thou, Israel, art my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the seed of Abraham, my friend.
Right, so the Israelites, the nation of Israel, are God's chosen people. So with that, we're going to talk about slavery today. And we're going to read from the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28. And this is a pivotal chapter in the Bible because it outlines again slavery. And we're going to talk about those who went through slavery and those who are still enslaved or in captivity today. Let me get Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 1. We're going to start with verse 1.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all His commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
Right. So God said that if we obey all His commandments, that He would set us above all nations on the earth. Y'all think we listened to Him?
Nope.
Right. We didn't listen to Him. Verse 2.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 2. And all these blessings shall come upon thee and overtake thee if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So just to fast forward, God said that if we obey to do all his commandments, that he will bless us. He will bless upon all the nations upon the earth, right? So he also said that if we disobey him, then certain things are going to happen. So let's start with verse 15 first.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all the curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So God is telling us that if we don't keep his commandments, that he's going to put curses upon us. So let's find out what curses are still upon us to this day. Verse 16.
Verse 16. Cursed shalt thou be in the city.
Curse. No, go ahead.
Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
So, as we all know, these auction blocks in which the so-called blacks were auctioned on during slavery. As you can see here, we also have a picture that says, or an ad to be sold, a cargo of 94 prime healthy Negroes. So we were advertised, understand? Consisting of 39 men, 15 boys, 24 women, and 16 girls, just arrived. Cursed shall I be in the city. The slave market, located where Wall Street reached the East River, was established in 1711 as a place where enslaved blacks and Native Americans could be hired or purchased. Thousands of blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans were held in bondage and sold in the early colonial settlements of New France, which is Quebec, New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia, and Upper Canada, also known as Ontario. Cursed shall thou be in the field. So you guys have probably seen movies such as 12 Years a Slave, Roots. And there was a scene, I know, 12 Years a Slave, where there was a brother or sister who passed out, fainted, maybe even died because of the heat exhaustion, dehydration. Got the sun beaming down on you, no AC. You can't go in the master's house and cool off. You can't get a drink of water whenever you wanted to. That's being cursed. Cursed in the field. And also you see more pictures depicting us being cursed throughout slavery. Verse 17.
Verse 17. Cursed shalt thou be, cursed shalt thy basket and thy store.
18.
Cursed shall be the fruit of the body, and the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy kind, and thy flock of thy sheep.
So, as you all see here, they took our children and bashed them against rocks, against stone. As you see here, you had brothers and sisters hung and then set ablaze on fire. Our flocks, our sheep, took them from us, slaughtered. Verse 19, continue.
Verse 19. Cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out.
So you walking into Target or even your local convenience store on the corner. You go in, you're in the candy section, the candy aisle, and you want to pick up a candy bar. And then you say to yourself, dang, I feel like somebody's watching. Then you look up and somebody's watching you. You curse when you're going in, anywhere. And you still curse when you leave this library. Thus saith the Lord. Everywhere we go, in and out, we curse. Verse 20.
Verse 20. The Lord shall send upon thee cursing, vexations, and rebuke in all that thou settest thy hand unto, for to do until thou be destroyed, and until thou perish quickly, because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me.
So the Most High said that he was going to bring upon vexation and rebuke and everything that we set our hands to do. So, for example, brothers, Friday night and Saturday night is the beginning of the Sabbath. Okay, that's the highest holy day in which we're supposed to let go of all of our worldly activities such as work, cooking, cleaning, and serve the Most High. So it's a Friday night, and you're supposed to be keeping the Sabbath. But instead, you're getting ready to go out with the boys and the fellas. You understand? So you get in the car, going to the party, going to the club, tire pop on. That's correction right there. That's rebuke. That's the Most High letting you know. You're not supposed to be going out here during the Sabbath. You're supposed to be keeping the Sabbath. That was just an example. Or he can put you to death. You understand? Everybody that's getting these scriptures today, thus saith the Lord, you're being marked by the Most High. Because knowing that God put us in slavery for the wickedness of our doings, it's time for us to change and repent and keep the commandments. This is another picture of what cursing, vexation, and rebuke looks like. So, in the corner here, so-called Native Americans, or even brothers from the Northern Kingdom, so-called Mexicans, Colombians, if you will, carrying a never-ending log and being whipped as well, being yelled at, being whipped by so-called white men. That right there causes vexation, anger, being upset. Cursing and vexation will continue. So I don't know if y'all familiar with Black Wall Street. Y'all heard about that thing? So Black Wall Street, in the early decades of the 1900s, Durham acquired national reputation for entrepreneurship. Business owned by African Americans lined Parish Street. Among them were NC Mutual Life Insurance Company, led by John Merrick, Dr. Aaron Moore, and C.C. Spaulding, and Mechanics and Farmers Bank, led by R.B. Fitzgerald and W.G. Pearson. So we had our own community within Tulsa, Oklahoma, our own structure. We had farmland, we had doctors, lawyers. Then you have a news article here. Tulsa whites vent spleen on business success of Negroes. Tulsa, Oklahoma, June 10th. Tulsa leaves stricken almost unto death. The city is literally in sackcloth and ashes. And it seems like a veritable miracle that it has escaped complete destruction. Whatever it enjoyed in the matter of thrift, enterprise, and a fair name has been, for the moment at least, by a wanton, fiendish mob, actuated by jealousy and race, hatred, which sought to wipe out the Negroes and their section of the city for the simple reason their prosperity and intelligent development was becoming too evident to suit the wishes of a certain element of whites. Whole truth not told. Then the article continues. So, as you can see here, a mob of so-called white people went through this community and tortured it with flamethrowers, with fire. That's cursing, vexation, and rebuke from the Most High. Verse 21.
Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 21. The Lord shall make thee pestilence, or make the pestilence cleave unto thee, until he have consumed thee from off the land, whither thou goest to possess it.
So we know that the so-called Native Americans were the first people on this continent, North America, right? And when these people came, they came with gifts, right? Blankets. What do those blankets include? Smallpox, right? Disease. As you can see, it infected our people, so-called Native Americans. Millions upon millions died due to those gifts. Verse 22.
Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 22. The Lord shall smite thee with a consumption, and with a fever, and with an inflammation, and with an extreme burning, and with a sword, and with blasting, and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish.
Disease. Continue, verse 23.
Verse 23. And thy heaven that is over thy head shall brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be iron.
So the earth that is under thee shall be iron. That's those shackles that iron that the Most High was talking about. Speaking about slavery before it even happened. This is what Deuteronomy chapter 28 is speaking about, slavery. And it's all biblical. And our people don't know this. Verse 24.
Verse 24, the Lord shall make the rain of thy land powder and dust. From heaven or shall it come down upon thee, until thou destroy it.
Right, so it's like speaking about famine, no rain. Verse 25.
Verse 25. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thy enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shalt be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth.
So the Most High God said that we were going to be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. What does that mean?
All the nations.
So as you see, the slave trade, transatlantic, sub-Saharan. So we were taken from West Africa, right? So Sierra Leone, Ivory Coast, Liberia, Nigeria, Ghana, and moved throughout all the corners of the globe. So South America, Central America, West Indies, and even into the Americas, New Orleans, huge slave trade port. Also Richmond, New York, just to name a couple. Between 1650 and 1860, approximately 10 to 15 million enslaved people were transported from Western Africa to the Americas. Most were shipped to the West Indies, Central America, and South America. Fleeing 7 ways. So, y'all probably don't know, but so-called Arabs, the Arabians, they had a huge part in us going into slavery. People will look at these pictures and say, oh, that's Africans, putting other Africans into slavery. No. Arabs putting us, the Israelites, into slavery. So-called Mexicans being taken down by Spain, the Spaniards. People probably think that so-called Mexicans, Latinos, if you will, their native tongue is Spanish. No, these people, the Spaniards, which are so-called white people who speak Spanish, conquered our people, our brothers and sisters, and taught them Spanish, and also Christianity. Verse 26.
Verse 26. And thy carcass shall be meat unto all fowls of the air, and unto the beasts of the earth, and no man shall fray them away.
So, your dad was just hung the night before, and his body's still hanging. When you go out to see his body still hanging in the morning, it's gone. You got birds eating at him all night. You got beasts, lions, cougars, whatever's in the area, eating his body, gone. 27.
Verse 27. The Lord will smite thee with the botch of Egypt, and with the emerods, and with the scab, and with the itch. Thereof thou canst be healed.
Right, so
Cannot be healed.
in general, speaking about disease that can't be healed, and we'll touch on that in a little while. Verse 28.
Verse 28, the Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart.
Astonishment of heart. You know what it means to be astonished? Astonished. Damn, look at that. You see that? So so-called white people look at us and be like, yo, look at those niggas right there. He got his hat on backwards, his pants are sagging. Damn, why do they walk like that? That's an astonishment. Or even for us, who know the commandments, we see a sister with skin-tight leggings on, breasts hanging out. We see that and we go, damn, you see how that sister dressing? That's an astonishment right there. You are an astonishment. 29.
Verse 29, and thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind gropeth in darkness, and and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways. And thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee.
Right. So y'all know what it means to grow. In that noonday, in broad daylight, the sun's out, clear skies, sun beaming down, to grow. This is what it means to grow. You touch, you feeling for something, as if you're blind. That's how people still walking around today. They don't know who they are. And no man shall save you. Anybody saved us from slavery?
No.
Was out the slave ships? Anybody say, yo, y'all doing them too much harm, y'all doing them wrong. We want to buy their freedom. Nobody did that. 30.
Verse 30. Thou shalt be betrothed a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shalt not gather the grapes thereof.
Right, so thou shalt betroth a wife, or be engaged to be married to a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Y'all seen it in all the movies. Slave master, take your wife, take your woman, take her in the back, boom, have sex with her. And she gets pregnant, baby comes out, you know that's not yours. 31.
Verse 31. The ox shall be slain before thy eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. Thy ass shall be violently taken away from before thy face, and shall not be restored to thee. Thy sheep shall be given unto thy enemies, and thou shalt have none to rescue them.
So everything was taken from us, upon us going into captivity, going into slavery. Cursed, kind, and sheep. So like you can see, dead animals. 32.
Verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thy eyes shall look and fail with longing for them, and thy day and all the day long. And there shall be no might in thy hand.
No might in our hands to get our children back. They were taken from us. Go ahead.
Verse 33. The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always.
Right, so this nation was built on our backs, our forefathers, our foremothers in slavery. So all the fields that we were planting for them, even the house that they dwelt in, we built those. But we weren't able to enjoy any of that fruit or those houses, those homes. 34.
Verse 34. So that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see.
Right.
35. The Lord shall smite thee in the knees and in the legs with a sore botch that it cannot be healed, from the sole of thy foot until the top of thy head.
Right, so in general, speaking of disease that can't be cured, understand, it may be healed or treatable, but that thing can't be cured. We're going to get into that a little bit more as well. 36.
Verse 36. The Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone.
Serve other gods, wood and stone. So Christianity, right? You walk into a church, you see a huge cross hanging up, wooden cross hanging up. That's idolatry. In stone. Y'all know anything about Islam? Being a so-called Muslim, what they pray to? They pray to a cobblestone. God was telling the children of Israel that this is what was to befall us. This is what's going to happen. We're going to be wearing bracelets with a fake image of the Christ. That's not what the Bible says Christ looks like. Stone image of a white Christ. 37.
Verse 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whether the Lord leadeth thee.
So, as I was explaining a little earlier, an astonishment. See the sister dressing all out of order. Skin tight leggings, breasts showing, nipples almost coming out. Got the brother with his pants sagging below his butt. And then you got these effeminate, I don't even know if this is a brother or a sister, but this brother effeminate, no beard on his face, looking downy soft. Borderline homosexual. That's an astonishment. That's how we're not to look. That's how we're not to dress. Thus saith the Lord. A proverb. So these are wise sayings that the other nations and people use toward us. A Mexican and a nigga are riding in a car. Who's driving? And then they'll say, a cop. What do black men do after sex? 15 years to life. That's ridiculous. A bunch of Mexicans are running down a hill. What is going on? A prison break? This is what the other nations think of us and our people. A byword, so for blacks, ape, color, spook, coon, nigger, tarbit, eggplant, darky, picking, porch monkey, spade, Latinos, spit, brownie, wetback, greaseball, beaner, greaser, Native Americans, timber nigger, redskin, prairie nigger, chug, which is a Canadian slur, Injune, and brownie. 38.
Verse 38. Thou shalt carry much seed out into the field, and shalt gather but little in, for the locust shall consume it. Thou shalt plant vineyards, and dress them, but shalt neither drink of the wine, nor gather the grapes, for the worm shall eat them. Verse 40. Thou shalt have olive trees throughout all thy coasts, but thou shalt not anoint thyself with the oil. For the olive shall cast his fruit.
Right, so basically everything that we planted, it wouldn't reap as it should. It wouldn't be a large harvest as it's supposed to. So as you see here, locusts consuming our crops, our fruit, our vegetables, our vegetation. 41.
Verse 41. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity.
For they shall go into captivity. So we're on verse 41 right now. For any brother and sister who doesn't understand that right now you are an Israelite, that the Bible speaks of, and that slavery is prophesied in the Bible before it happened, you might need to check your genealogy. Our children shall go into captivity. Who did that happen to? Happened to blacks, right? Happened to Native Americans, so-called Native Americans and Hispanics. Verse 42.
Verse 42. All thy trees and fruit of thy land shall the locust consume.
So again, all the trees and the fruit, locusts, the caterpillars consume, all because of our wickedness and not wanting to keep God's commandments. Verse 43.
Verse 43. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low.
Go ahead.
Verse 44. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail.
So the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high. So brothers, y'all going to a convenience store in the hood, okay? East St. Paul, West St. Paul, however you want it. You're going to the store. Who is usually behind the register? What nation of people? Arabs, right?
Yeah.
Right. In your neighborhood, though, sisters want to go to the nail shop to get their nails done. Who's running that? Asian, Moab, and Ammon, so-called Chinese and Japanese, in our neighborhoods. Why? That's what God said. The stranger that is within me, that is dwelling with us, is going to get us high over us. And we're the children of Israel. We God's chosen people. But for our wickedness, this is why. 45.
Verse 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. Verse 46. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
Right, so upon thy seed forever. How long is forever? Forever. So that means that we're still under these curses. You understand? Forever until Christ comes back. We are cursed. 47.
Verse 47. Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart and with the abundance of all things. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee.
Right, so we want to get a cheeseburger. We out and about. Where we gotta go get that thing? We need tissue. Where do we have to go? Who do we have to go to get that thing? Right, you gotta go to the store. You gotta go to Wendy's. Until he have destroyed thee, he will put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. So we know that we don't have any yokes of iron around our necks anymore, right? So we think we're free, huh? Yoke of iron around our necks until he have destroyed thee. So now that we destroyed here mentally, that's what I said, okay, let's take the iron off their neck, let's take the iron off their feet. They're already destroyed. Where they gonna go? Back home to the motherland in Africa. They don't have any roads, they're not going anywhere. Now it's set up things that'll keep them down. Like EBT. Section 8. Y'all know about Section 8, right? The sister has to be single. She has to live alone. There can't be a man in the house. Why is that? In thirst, right? Water, brothers. Water. You have to buy water. That sounds ridiculous. Nakedness. So we want clothes, right? You gotta go to Old Navy. You gotta go to Polo. You gotta go to Walmart. Buy from other nations. Made in China, made in France, Taiwan, Italy. All things, education. You want a loan for your house, which still won't be yours once you finish paying it off. Social Security, medicine, all things. You have to go to our enemies. Make no mistake about it, we do have enemies. Thus saith the Lord. Yoke of iron, as you were explaining, around our necks. Iron collar for preventing the escape of slaves. Y'all seen an iron collar like that before? Y'all seen that? You never seen that, right? 49.
Verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from afar, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth. A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
As swift as the eagle flieth. So you look at any type of dollar bill, American dollar bill. What bird is on that thing? Spain, their emblem was the bird. Rome, Italy, France, Egypt, they all rocked the bird. They all rocked the eagle. As you see in the middle. Got America. What's that below it? Russia, Germany? The eagle. So all those nations, all those men and people, they're all the same. So when the Most High said that a nation is going to come and overtake us as swift as the eagle flieth, all these nations, this eagle, all those nations had enemies going into captivity, for they are the same people. 50.
Verse 50. A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of old, nor shew favor for the young.
Right, so these people were so fierce, brothers and sisters, that they didn't give a damn if you were young or old. They didn't care if you were 70. They didn't care if you were 7, 5. This is what was happening to you. So-called Native Americans, so-called Mexicans. Guess what? Holding a cross up, telling them, you need to convert to being a Christian. Obviously, our people was telling them, no, we're not going. So what happened? Burned them up. Tied them up and burned them up. Look at that. Look at these demons. As swift as the eagle flieth. That's how we became Christians. A cross. Got people wearing so-called Jesus pieces and crosses around their neck. You won't find that in the Bible. That's idolatry. Y'all can find that in the Bible where we're supposed to wear crosses around our necks and jewelry and Jesus pieces. Let me know. Verse 51.
Verse 51. And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle, and the fruit of thy land, until thou be destroyed. Which also shall not leave thee either corn, wine, or oil, or the increase of thy kind, or flocks of thy sheep, until he have destroyed thee.
So again, this fierce nation of people took everything. They didn't leave anything. They laid the murder game down, as we say in the streets, right? 52.
Verse 52. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates until thy high and fenced walls come down, wherein thou trustest throughout all thy land, and he shall besiege thee in all thy gates throughout all thy land, which the Lord thy God hath given thee.
Right, so for example, the destruction of Jerusalem in the year 70 AD, the book of Luke, chapter 20 or 21, Christ spoke of that destruction that was to come, and it happened. So the Romans came and tore down Jerusalem, the walls, fire, took everything and killed everybody that was within it, or those who were willing to become Romans and Greeks and live as a Gentile. For we are not the Gentiles, but the Israelites. And everybody else fled into the hills of Africa, Western Africa, and that. Did we 52? You got that? So, as I was explaining, the fall of Jerusalem in 70 AD. So I see the fire going up and smoke is burning. So you see a picture here. Don't let this fool you. These characters here, so-called white people, that's all Israelites right there. So these people going into captivity, those are the Israelites. And then the Romans taking them into captivity.
Verse 53. And thou shalt eat the fruit of thy own body, the flesh of thy son, of thy daughters, which the Lord thy God hath given thee, in the siege and in the straitness, wherewith thy enemies shall distress thee.
Right, so on our way to Central America, Brazil, and the West Indies, the mothers and fathers were eating their children, literally, cannibalism. Continue.
So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil towards his brother and towards the wife of his bosom, and towards the remnant of his children, which he shall leave.
So real quick, I just want y'all to see something. Y'all probably didn't get that. So his eyes shall be evil toward his brother and toward the wife of his bosom and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. So we got a lot of baby dads out here, right? Don't take care of their children. They leaving them. Why is that? Well, Deuteronomy 28:54 said that he was going to do that. He was going to leave his children. Cursed. That curse is still among our men, our black Hispanic men today. Go ahead.
Verse 55. So that he will not give to any of them of the flesh of his children whom he shall eat, because he have nothing left. Him in the siege and in the straitness wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee in all thy gates.
Right, so again, that's never in the cycle right. It's never in the cycle right there. So they feel like they have nothing that they can give their children. Even today, our brothers don't want to work. They got that lazy, that slothful spirit on them. For example. So again, cannibalism. So as the scriptures stated, that during our siege, on our way to these other nations, in our captivity, we were literally eating our children. 6.
Verse 56. The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her feet upon the ground, for delicateness and tenderness. Her eyes shall be evil towards the husband of her bosom, and towards her son, and towards her daughter.
Right, so you got baby mom, baby dad drama, right? They always yelling, they always fighting, you know, nigga this, nigga that. They cussing each other out. That's the scripture's talking right now. The scripture's telling you that thing was going to happen. That she was going to hate him, they was going to hate each other. 57.
57. And towards her young one that cometh out from between her feet, and towards her children, which she shall bear. For she shall eat them for want of all things, secretly in the siege and straitness wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee in thy gates.
So again, cannibalism. So the mothers ate their children, right? 58.
58. If thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book, that thou mayest fear the glorious and fearful name, the Lord thy God.
Continue.
Then the Lord will make thy plagues wonderful, and thy plagues of thy seed even great plagues, and of long continuance, and sore sickness of long continuance.
Right, so continual sickness, continual plagues. Broken down to 60.
Verse 60. Moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt, which thou was afraid of, and they shall cleave unto thee. Also every sickness and every plague, which is not written in this book, or of this law, then will the Lord bring upon thee until thou be destroyed.
So God said even that the diseases that are mentioned in this book, in this Bible, that he was going to afflict upon our people. What are some of those diseases? So you got HIV, right? Tell me that's not a huge problem within the black community. You got herpes, HSV1, you got diabetes, and whatever else you want to call this. You want to call it Ebola, you can call it Ebola. You want to call it cancer, you can call it cancer. It's all afflicting our people today. Thus saith the Lord. That's in the Bible. Before it happened. 62.
Verse 62. And ye shall be left few in number, whereas the stars of heaven for multitude, because thou would not obey the voice of the Lord thy God. And it shall come to pass that as the Lord rejoiced over you to do you good and to multiply you, so the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you and to bring you to naught, and ye shall be plucked from off the land whither thou goest to possess it.
Right, so the Most High said he was going to be happy to see our destruction. Since we don't want to keep his laws, his statutes, his commandments, he would be happy to see us destroyed utterly by our enemies. 64.
Verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from one end of the earth even unto the other, and there shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have No, even wood and stone.
So again, we come to this wood and stone thing. So they got statues of the so-called Virgin Mary. They praying to that thing. Again, Catholicism, Catholics, white image of Jesus with beads. They wrap it around their hands like so, and then they say some type of demonic chants, thinking that they are praying to God. 65.
Verse 65. And among these nations shall thy find no ease, neither shall thy soul or thy foot have rest. But the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart, and failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear the day and night, and shalt have none assurance of thy life.
So I don't know about you brothers, but when I wake up every day, I don't fear for my life. But during slavery, when they had them shackles on their feet and that yoke of iron around their neck, they were in fear of their life every single day. To the point where verse 67, bring that out.
Verse 67. In the morning thou shalt say, would God anywhere even.
So they were saying in the morning time, man, I wish it was nighttime so that we get some rest, so that we can sleep. Continue.
And at evening thou shalt say, would God it were morning.
So even at night they would say, oh, I wish it was the morning time. Why? They were afraid for their lives. They could be put to death in their sleep. You understand? Psychological. So we're being destroyed physically, mentally, psychologically, spiritually. Continue.
For the fear of thine heart within thou shalt fear, and for the sight of thy eyes which thou shalt see.
Right. So we know that for a lot of the slaves, it was almost illegal for them to look up into the master's eyes. They were afraid of that thing. You understand? They would see their brothers and sisters get lashes for doing something like that. You understand? Things like that made them afraid. You got a plantation of 100 slaves, and you got master and his family and a few of his workers, maybe 20 of them at most, and they wouldn't even come together, huddle up, and devise a plan to overpower those 20 because they were afraid. Thus saith the Lord. That's why they didn't try to overtake master's house and his family and his few workers that he had, because they were afraid. 68 is the bread and butter right here.
Verse 68.
Bring it out.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I speak unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen.
Slave men and slave women. So the Most High said that he was going to bring us into Egypt again with ships. So what manner of people went into slavery by way of ships? And don't tell me the so-called Jewish people, the so-called white people. Israelites, man. Who went into Egypt again with ships? Your ancestors. Blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans. For slave men and slave women. And no one shall buy you. Who bought us out? Nobody, right? Exodus chapter 20, verse 2. I got it, fellas. It says, I am the Lord thy God, which hath brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. So, in a previous scripture, when the Most High said that he bring us into Egypt again, Egypt means bondage. Okay, so he bring us into bondage again with ships. Ships. It happened to us. So with that, it's 50. We're going to close out this presentation, and we hope that you all were edified with the words of the Most High God. And Again, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you are the children of the Most High God. So you're more than just a so-called African American black person. You're more than just a Haitian or a Jamaican or mixed. You're an Israelite, God's chosen people. We have a website that you can go on, IsraelUnite.org. We can learn more about your nationality and your heritage. And also we have more of these speaking events coming up throughout the summer months. And I don't know if we have copies on the ones that are coming up June 7th. But we have some flyers that we can hand you guys to give you some more information on. With that, we say shalom.